Yeah, well, let's turn our minds then from those sort of issues to the issues really of balancing the books if you're a nation. And if you've been listening to business and news programmes this week here on the BBC, you'll know France has been in, let's describe it as a bit of a crisis. Its latest Prime Minister, the fourth in 2 years, if you're counting, resigned on Tuesday after losing a vote of confidence in Parliament over an austerity budget that he wanted to pass. France has a big debt problem. It's 114% of its GDP. The government says this is unsustainable and it wants to curb spending. So, will the new man to fill the role of Prime Minister, Sébastien Lecornu, be able to succeed where so many of his predecessors have failed? I asked the France-based reporter Jamie Smith-Maillet.
Sebastian Lecornec, he's 39, and he was one of the names that had been floated around about being a likely prime minister appointed to the job, and that's mostly because he is seen as a close ally, a strong ally of Emmanuel Macron. He served in government in ministerial positions.
Can he get this budget through, or a budget through, in the way his predecessor couldn't?
Well, that's certainly what is hoped, I imagine, with Emmanuel Macron as a sort of the third attempt now at looking at a fresh budget, with that failing last year as well, if we remember, with Michel Barnier and now Francois Bayrou for the 2026 budget. Essentially, the debt figures and the challenges ahead are still the same, and that's what he'll be having to deal with relatively quickly. And he has been told, Macron, quoted saying that he has to consult the political forces represented by Parliament to adopt a budget that will suit the nation. The reality is that the challenges of the budget and the deficit facing France are still there. And what he has been asked to do, quoting Macron from today, is consult the political forces represented by Parliament to adopt a budget for the nation in the coming months, notably with consensus across the board. It is still going to be very tricky. He's likely to look at similar measures to those that were set out by Mr. Bayrou, but he will have to seek consensus from the far right and also the left-wing bloc in the weeks ahead, and that still is most definitely a tricky task for him.
And meanwhile, France is within a few hours going through something pretty close to a general strike. I think it's called Blockade 2. Can you explain what's going to happen there?
Yeah, so this Blockade 2 movement, which is let's block everything, actually was really before this political crisis, but related in some ways to the financial crisis and the cost of living crisis, the issues of inflation that France faced last year, slightly different now, but nonetheless all confuddled together in some ways related to the political crisis of today. This announcement of the new prime minister is certainly going to be seen as controversial to those who support the far right and also the hard left parties, so may indeed lead to further protests on the streets tomorrow, not just in Paris but around the country. So it is being watched closely and will be a sign of concern for the new government, as Sébastien Lecornu will be going to the Élysée Palace and then later to Matignon tomorrow to officially be signed in as Prime Minister.
Jamie Smith-Maillet, and the new man is called Sébastien Lecornu. God knows how long he'll be there. Perhaps, well, might be 6 prime ministers within these few years. It's an interesting one, isn't it, Travis? Because we talk about debt and major debt problems for countries like that. And the UK's got major debt problems too. But we're used to hearing all that about countries like Indonesia or developing countries. It seems to have come full circle in a way.
Right, yeah, actually Indonesia and